Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well and got more sleep than I did last night. Oof, man, some nights. Anyway, enough about me. I was about to ask how you're doing, but you can't really answer me. At least I can't hear what you're saying. Let's just see what happens today. And then once I'm done recording, I can name the class. So sometimes this is what happens, right? In life too. You don't have time to prepare or you don't sleep well and you see what happens. And sometimes it can be magic. Let's start lying down. Depending on how your day has been so far, you might need to get some wiggles out, or maybe you feel ready to be still right away. Your legs could be bent or extended. You might have your arms by your sides or way out to the side, like a starfish. And then for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh your breath away. 2 more. And then continue breathing however feels best for you. Could be in and out through your nose or mouth. As much as possible, try to maintain just a natural breath rhythm, though. So you don't need to force the breath, you don't need to control it. And notice how your breath is flowing. Maybe you notice the rise and fall of your belly, your chest. Maybe you notice sounds from the breath or sensations from the breath. All of these things that we can focus in on so that our mind doesn't have to wander, doesn't have to start chasing thoughts. It can be simply here and now. Last few breaths here. And at the end of your next exhale, start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body. Whatever way feels best, just start to wake your body up. Could be a little wiggle of the fingertips or toes or a big yawning stretch. And then when you feel ready, bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor about hip width apart, parallel-ish, and close enough into your bum that you can tickle your heels with your fingertips. So setting up for bridge pose. On your inhale, lift the pelvis and spine up and away. And as you exhale, slowly lower back down. So very simply, moving in and out of bridge. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. A couple more, just like that. The next time that you come down, pause there for a couple breaths. You might just be in stillness or take a little wiggle to reset. For our second set, we're going to do the same thing, coming in and out of bridge, but we're going to add some arms as an option. So it's totally optional, not required at all. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, lift up the pelvis and spine. Lift your arms up and maybe reach them back overhead. And then exhale, slowly lower them back down by your side. Inhale to reach the arms either up to the sky or back overhead. And exhale, lower back down. So a couple more of those on your inhale to lift, on your exhale to lower. And then notice it's probably a little bit wobblier, right? So make sure you're squeezing the bum, that your legs aren't flaring out to the side. Last one here. And then at the end of your exhale, once you're down, pause back down on the floor. And then take your feet mat width apart. Take a little windshield wiper of your knees. And then next time your knees are over at the left, pause there. So the feet are nice and wide, right? Mat width apart. Knees are hanging out over at the left, getting a little bit of a twist through the spine, not a huge one. It's more about the hips and the thighs here. If you would like a little bit more, you could gently hook the left ankle over top of the right thigh, and that'll add more traction to the front of that hip. And you can hang out here just sort of passively, or you could squeeze the bum on the right side. That'll lift the hip up. So getting a little bit more into the front body, but it also increases the rotation in the spine. Last breath here. And if your foot is hooked over top, unhook it. Inhale. Come back to center. Little windshield wiper to release anything that might have got stuck. And then next time your knees are over at the right, pause there. And then suss it out. See how it feels. Maybe this is where you want to stay on this side. Maybe you feel like deepening it, in which case, cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. Keep hitting the bookshelf. And then you could either hang passively or squeeze the bum on the left side to actively open the front of the hip. You might reach your left arm back into the left. Now, all of this I should have mentioned, you should be doing pain-free. So at any point, if it feels like it's too much torque on your knees, then take the ankle over or off. Last breath here. Okay, unhook the ankle. Inhale back to center. A couple little windshield wipers just to release. And then draw your knees toward you. Take a little rock from side to side. From here, take your knees wide out toward your shoulders or armpits. Maybe you keep that little rock going. You could go into happy baby if you want to, kicking the feet up to the sky. Maybe grab the backs of the thighs or anywhere else along the legs or the feet. Couple little rocks, or maybe you pause in stillness for the last 2 breaths here. And then release your feet, shake out your legs. You might rock and roll up and down your spine here if that feels good for you. Shoulder blades to sit bones, shoulder blades to sit bones. If that, roll to one side, press yourself up, and we'll meet on hands and knees. So eventually, sitting up with knees underneath hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked behind you. And then hands nice and wide. So I like outer shoulder width apart, or even a little bit wider. Fingers spread wide. And then grip the mat with the finger pads. So you'll feel a little pocket in the palm of the hand. And it's that lift, that activation of the muscles of the forearms that will protect your wrists anytime you're bearing weight on them. As you inhale, now lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through your collarbones into cow. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine into cat. Inhale into cow. And exhale, round into cat. A couple more of these on your own time, on your own breath. And if there's any other movement here that would feel good, please feel free to add on a little wag of the tail from side to side, barrel rolls through the chest. Maybe you snake toward the floor a little bit more. Go wherever you need to go. And then slowly come back to center. From here, come down onto your forearms. And then even with the forearms on the floor, you want your elbows sort of shoulder width apart or even a little bit wider. Arms parallel or forearms parallel to each other is going to give you a lot more support, but it can be quite challenging on the shoulders, particularly in terms of flexibility. So you might just bring the palms together and make like a little nest, or even clasp the hands. From here, step your knees back a little bit and then shift your weight forward. So you could be in dolphin plank from your knees, or tuck your toes, lift the hips up, dolphin plank from the toes. Squeeze your bum, squeeze the tops of the thighs, draw the lower ribs to the sky. Couple more breaths here. So dolphin plank is easier in some ways because you don't have to be on your wrists, but it's harder in others because gravity is working more the more parallel your body is to the floor. Last breath here. All right, exhale, come down to the knees and then all the way down onto your belly. Little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tail down to the back wall, belly button to spine. Inhale, reach the heart forward and up, baby cobra. Loop your shoulders onto your back, and then exhale, lower back down. So a few more of these extensions on your own time, on your own breath. Hands could hover or press into the earth or come out off the mat. But the whole time, keep the back of the neck long. So likely you're looking down rather than forward. Try to avoid lifting the chin. Last breath here. All right, as you exhale, come all the way down, one cheek to the earth. Deep belly breath to release through the lower back. Okay, we're gonna move into a little bit of a weird twist. We've done this one before, but not often. It gets a little bit tricky to get into, so just work with me here. It's all good. All right, so bring your left knee up in line with your hip. Okay, so it's like a half frog position here. So your knee is bent, and your knee is more or less in line with the top of your hip. Now press up with your left hand here, and then you're going to thread the right arm underneath the left. Okay, you still with me? So pressing with the left hand, right arm is threading underneath the left arm, left knee is still up. From here, start to press yourself open to a twist to the right. Now, super normal for that top shoulder to be way, way lifted, right? Because we've started this twist with the hips pinned, where normally we start with the shoulders pinned on the floor, right? When we start from the back. Now, at any point, you can give yourself a little bit of ease here by bringing a block or a pillow underneath your knee, or maybe you don't twist so far to the right. But last couple breaths here. And then slowly start to unwind. Come back onto your left side, or over to the left rather. Press that left hand up and unwind back to your belly. Little wiggle or shake, or even a windshield wiper of the legs here. Excuse me. And then bend your right knee and hip. So the right knee is up at the level of the hip. Press the right hand into the floor so that you thread the left arm underneath the right arm and then start to roll open in your twist. So the knee is over to the right and it's the right arm that is opening up and across. Again, at any point, feel free to prop underneath your knee or even underneath the shoulder here. Give yourself a little bit of a pillow. But it should feel like a really nice opening, or at least interesting opening across the chest and the front of that shoulder. One more breath here. Again, and then slowly start to unwind. Press the right hand back into the floor so you can unwind the left and then come back to your belly. A little windshield wiper of the knees here. And then bring your hands to the floor. Press yourself back into your child's pose. Either knees together or knees wide, but toes together for sure wherever you are. Because the wider you take the toes away from each other, the more you kind of torque the knees. And then you might bring a pillow underneath your torso, or you could stack your palms underneath your forehead or bring a pillow there. Last couple breaths here. All right, and bring your palms underneath your shoulders, press yourself up, hands and knees, little wiggle, or shake, or cat and cow. And then step to the top edge of your mat into your standing forward fold. So knees can be deeply bent here. They don't need to be straight. And in fact, I recommend keeping at least a micro bend in the knees. It helps protect the low back, or at least release it. You could rest your elbows on your thighs for a little bit more support. Or if you want more traction through the spine, you could clasp opposite elbows with hands. Maybe you sway a little bit from side to side. Couple more breaths here. Whatever you need. As always, if you have blocks, you could bring blocks underneath your hands to bring the floor up to you so that there's less reaching required. Some days it just feels further away. And then if your arms are bound, release them. Bring your fingertips to your shins or blocks or the earth. On your inhale, lift up partway. Find length through your spine here in this partway lift. And then exhale, let it all go. Couple more. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And then bend your knees. Head heavy, arms heavy, chin tucked into your chest. Slowly start to roll up to standing. So as we do this roll up, I want your knees to stay bent the entire time until you're all the way up standing, and then a couple loops of your shoulders up, back, and down. Little wiggle, noodle, or release. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips, do a couple gentle hip circles. First one direction, and then the other. And a little twist from side to side. Excuse me. Whew. All right. Grab your right wrist, pull it over to the left, bend your knees round through the spine. Now, the further down you pull, the further down the back you're going to feel this release. You could rock even a little bit from side to side. Last breath here. Inhale, come back to center. Open the arms up wide. And then as you exhale, grab the left wrist, pull it over to the right, round through your spine. Couple more breaths here. And then inhale, open back up to standing. Nice opening through the chest. Couple little half moon circles. Or a little shake of the head from side to side. And then come on back to the top edge of the mat if you're not already there. Hug the legs toward each other. Tilt onto the ears slightly just to feel the belly button engage toward your spine. Shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Maybe follow with your gaze. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth. Forward fold. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Same thing. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Last time. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Couple breaths here. A little pause or reset. And then release your palms. Shake it out a little bit. Shake out the legs. And let's get into the neck while standing. Usually we do it seated. It can feel a little bit different standing. You might feel, well, it can feel different. I don't want to impose an experience upon this for you. So bring your left ear to your shoulder. Now make sure you're not rounding through your spine here, right? We really just want to get into the neck. So rest the spine stays long. Left ear comes to your shoulder. From here, you might reach your right fingertips away from you, or you might reach around with the left hand to grab the right forearm. And that'll get a little bit more into the chest. You can also grab the left forearm with the right hand. But I feel like grabbing the right forearm, just it feels like there's more there. And if you're not grabbing the forearm, if you want even more, you could gently add the weight of your left hands to your head without yanking or pulling. And then maintaining this lateral flexion in your neck, rotate your nose toward your shoulder, tuck your chin under a little bit more. So we're still getting the right side, but it's a little bit more posterior. Again, if you're holding your forearm, it still works. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly come back to center. Now this one gets a little bit weird. Hand off the head. I want you to look up to the sky now. So now you're rotating up to the sky. And rather than lifting the chin, can you think of tucking the chin under a little bit? So you should be feeling something now, more on the front of the neck, sternocleidomastoid area, rather than lifting the chin, right? Chin tucked slightly. And then release your chin to your chest, a couple little half moon circles, little wiggle, noodle, or release. And then we'll switch sides. So bring your right ear to your shoulder. Maybe you just reach those left fingertips away from you, or just let the arms hang naturally, right? Even just the arms hanging naturally, this is where it can be different from seated because there's more gravity here. Maybe you reach around with your right arm to grab the left forearm, or maybe you gently add the weight of the right hand to the head. Couple breaths here. And then again, maintaining the lateral flexion, rotate your nose toward your shoulder, tuck your chin under a little bit more. All of this goes out to the person who was in my class yesterday and asked for neck and shoulders, and I forgot to give it to her. And if your hand is on your head, release it. Bring your head back to that, just right here to shoulder. And then this sort of weird one, look up to the sky, tuck your chin under slightly, and then really reach those left fingertips away from you or grab the forearm. Right, it's a super weird one. It's a little bit tricky to get into, but you might be feeling it across the chest and up into the front of the neck. If you don't worry about it. Release your chin to your chest. A couple little half moon circles, a little noodle or release. And then bring your palms to your pelvis, fingertips pointing down, elbows and shoulder blades wrapped toward each other. This might be enough extension for you today. If you'd like a little bit more, bend your knees, press your hips forward, really lift the heart up to the sky. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might choose to slide your knuckles down your thighs. I'm not going there today. Just go wherever you need to go. Last couple breaths. And on your next inhale, charge your legs. Come back up to standing. Exhale, release all the way forward into your standing forward fold. Little sway from side to side. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. Heel and toe your feet out wider and on an angle. So your toes could be off the edge of your mat here. And on your inhale, sit into your squat or malasana. This might not be where you want to be today, right? In the deep squat, in which case, take your feet even wider. You can rest your elbows on your knees or thighs. Otherwise, join me here. Wrap your shoulder blades onto your back, really proud through the chest. Make sure that there's buoyancy here so that if you had to stand up, you could, right? You're not just hanging out in the bottom of your squat. If your feet are flat, can you think of de-weighting your big toes? So you're not rolling into the arches of the feet. Last breath here. Okay, bring your palms down and then kind of a little duck walk thing onto hands and knees. A little wiggle or shake. And then roll over or shift your hips on one side so you can roll over onto your bum and then come down onto your back. Once you're down, hug your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. So we're going to do one more twist before we bring it down today or down to rest. So bring your right arm out to the side. Maybe shift your hips to the left a little. Oh, actually, yeah. Shift the hips to the right, sorry, and then exhale over the knees to the left. It doesn't really matter which side you do first. So this might feel quite a bit different from the first twist that we did. Right, so in this one, the hips are rotating rather than the upper body. So you might feel the twist in a different part. You can go as gentle or as deep as you need. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly inhale, come back to center, reset your pelvis and your spine. Bring your left arm out to the side. Exhale, lower your knees to the right. And again, as gentle or as deep of a twist as you need. Last couple breaths here. And on your inhale, return to center, reset your pelvis and spine. If there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, maybe happy baby or some sort of spinal flexion or extension, please feel free to go where you need to go. Otherwise, find your final resting pose. Could be flat on your back, legs bent or straight. Maybe you choose to take your legs up the wall today or rest in a seated position or a child's pose. And there's absolutely no rush to get there. But once you have found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And let go of your breath control. Let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your face or your jaw. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.